Community organisations in Clare working to improve education, training and employment opportunities for disadvantaged groups are being encouraged to apply for a share of a new €1.5 million national fund aimed at preparing people for the future world of work. The Skills for Tomorrow Fund, launched by Rethink Ireland in partnership with Deloitte Ireland and the Department of Rural and Community Development and the Gaeltacht, will provide grants of up to 200 grand to support innovative projects tackling barriers to employment and digital inclusion. And I'm joined now by the Business Development Director at Rethink Ireland, Tanja Buwalda. Tanja, thanks for joining me on the show.
Hi Alan, morning, how are you?
Very well. Can you tell us more about this new Skills for Tomorrow Fund and why Rethink Ireland decided to launch this at this time?
Sure, maybe I'll start with the second part of the question first. Look, the world of work is changing, isn't it? There's digital skills, there's technology skills that are being required of employees every day, both of young people and also people, and I'm speaking as someone north of 50, someone who's older, and as technology comes in, people need to adapt. And not everybody has access to the training to be able to upskill or reskill in those areas. So we've been keeping an eye on the space and seeing the need for quite a while. And we reached out to our partners, Deloitte Ireland in this case, who together with the Department of Rural Community Development and the Gaeltacht we formed a fund to be able to invest in those organisations that are actually dealing with that need in the community. People who need access to training, to skills, people who may not have a computer at home, for example, and just need to get on that digital path to learning.
And are there particular challenges facing rural counties like Clare when it comes to employment, training and digital inclusion that this fund will help benefit?
Different communities, I suppose, have different situations, and certainly rural broadband, although it's getting better, it has been a challenge to many communities. And also you're talking about distance, Alan. A lot of the skills and courses are in bigger towns or in cities. And so it's good to be able to maybe offer this funding to organisations who are offering an innovative approach and breaking down those barriers. Maybe they're doing part online, part in person. Maybe there's an organisation who are providing, for example, childcare as part of the training. Imagine you're have childcare responsibilities, often mothers who would love to do some more training but don't have childcare to be able to do it at the same time. And so some of the projects that we might be looking for in Clare are offering a kind of innovative approach in breaking down those barriers so that people can actually avail of some of the training that's available.
Yeah, the fund is aimed at marginalised communities, Tanja, and it has two strands, one for young people and one for adults. Can you explain how those strands will work?
Sure. So we have identified, again, I suppose, the needs in the market in terms of younger people and marginalised communities, people who maybe don't speak English, maybe people who have recently arrived to the country who need to get their skills improved, and young people who may have dropped out of education or formal education. They may be looking to upskill and try to get into the workforce other than the traditional Leaving Cert route. So that's another cohort of people that we would be looking to support. And then older people who, again, may have worked in careers their whole life and not had an opportunity to upskill into this digital area. Everything from our phone banking, logging on systems in work trackers, everything now seems to be moving towards computers, and not everybody has those same skills. And there are organisations, I'm sure, out there in Clare and the wider community working with people in those areas. We'd love to hear from those organisations and get them to apply to the fund.
And successful organisations can receive between €137,500 and €200,000, which you would imagine would have a significant impact for the successful community organisations. But beyond the financial support, Tanja, what additional assistance will successful applicants receive from Rethink Ireland?
Sure. Yeah, the funding is pretty significant. And the thing about, I suppose, our way of funding is that we do it over a sustained period of time. So this fund is a 2.5-year fund. And that helps organisations to be able to plan strategically, I suppose, over that long period and be able to take advantage of that sustained funding. We do a thing called the venture philanthropy model, Alan, that combines what we call business support along with the funding. And we hear from awardees every year. We do an annual survey and they tell us every single year that the business supports are as important as the funding itself. So there are things like helping them to diagnose strategy gaps that they may have in their organisation. You know, these organisations are really talented and really passionate at helping the people that they support, but sometimes they might need extra support in looking at long-term fundraising plans. Maybe they need a stronger communication base. Maybe they need help to strengthen their board of directors, for example, in a charity. And we help with all of those supports so that long-term, the charity or the social enterprise is actually a stronger organisation at the end of the time on our funds.
For organisations who might be interested, Tanja, what do they need to know about the application process? And, you know, is previous funding experience required? Can smaller grassroots organisations apply?
Everybody absolutely is open to apply. The closing date is the 29th. I will say this isn't a lastminute.com kind of application form that needs to be filled in. It does take a bit of time and consideration, and there are, as you can imagine, we're offering substantial grant funding. There are some details that we're going to need. So what I'd encourage people to do is log onto our website, rethink.ie, and go to the open funds page. And there you can go in and start an application. Just start one. And when you start it, you'll be able to see all of the information that we're going to ask you for. And you'll get a really good feel then of whether you have that information, whether you've got your audited accounts, whether you've got all your project plans in place, and be able to put it together. And the other thing as well is we have a team here at Rethink Ireland. We're based all over the country, actually. And we have a team that are able to support. So if you start the application and you have some questions, we have people that can support you with the application.
I suspect there's going to be quite a lot of interest in it, Tanja. Thank you so much for having a chat with us about it. Yeah, and of course, you'd love all that interest too. So I appreciate you joining us on the show.
No problem. Thanks a million, Alan, for giving us the opportunity.
No problem. Thank you. Tanja Buwalda there, Business Development Director at Rethink Ireland, joining us on Friday's Morning Focus.